Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Right. Oh, for fuck's sake. Fuck's sake. Oh, shit. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Right, it's Saturday, December the 9th. A mere 2 weeks away from Christmas. I can't wait. I love Christmas, as you all know. It has come around a little bit faster, or it seems to have done, this year than it has sort of previous years, but I'm still looking forward to it. Mostly, as per usual, I'm looking forward to the build up to it. As far as I'm concerned, and I don't know whether you agree with me on this, once Christmas Day is gone, Christmas is over. Boxing Day is just a hanger on. Boxing Day is just a day for doing nothing, but to me it's not proper Christmas. Proper Christmas is Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and that is it. So yeah, I am looking forward to it very much so, especially Christmas morning, obviously. Still like a big kid at that time. So yeah, 2 weeks away, guys. Right, viewing figures. It's really odd. I think this video, well, the last video that I did, had something like 59 views at the last look. The one before that had over 100. The one before that had 30 something. So I can't pretend to understand what's going on with that, whether it's YouTube's algorithms, whether it's with the weather getting crapper, people are staying in and, you know, finding things to watch like me, for instance. So I don't get it, but it's brilliant. The number of subscribers has stayed the same, as I said last week, but the number of views has gone through the roof. So well pleased about that. So thanks for that, guys. For those of you that are watching, all the extra viewers, welcome to the channel if you've not not been here before. Right, comments on the last video. Guy, you put a picture on of your breakfast. Thank God it was something normal for a change. Council estate breakfast, then I think it's Tony time. Where was the cereal and the toast or the fry up or whatever? It was literally just a cup of tea. Is that all you have in the morning? I can't function without cereal. First thing, definitely not. Cereal and a coffee and that's it. Certainly not pizzas and Chineses and kebabs and all that bollocks that you lot were putting on last week. Right, Rick. I'm with you on the football, Tony, mate. Can't stand it. I've just never been a football person, Rick. Never have been. Even when I was at school, they were all on about Man United and Wolves and all. It meant absolutely nothing to me. To me, it was all movies, TVs, and books, and that's it. Records. Records. That's dating me. So yeah, I'm glad somebody else sees it. Boxing, on the other hand. Sorry, Rick, I can't stand boxing either. There's not many sports that I do enjoy watching. As I said last week, probably the odd little bit of motorsport, but I used to watch that mainly with my dad because he used to love his motorsport, the Grand Prix and all that sort of thing, and he used to take us to the British Grand Prix in Silverstone in the 70s. Which I used to love. Noisy, but I loved it. But that's probably the only sport that I've got any time for, and to be honest, I don't watch it very often nowadays. You said that you watched The Mean One the other day. Good Christmas movie. It's a remake of The Grinch. It's not going to win any awards, but it's defo worth a watch. Great video as always, my friend. Thanks, Rick. Christmas movies, there are thousands of them. Sort of 20-30 years ago, you got what you could pretty much build up into a top 30 of Christmas movies, and that's pretty much all there was. You know, you could probably stretch it to 50 if you'd struggle a bit with that though, because once you got all the classics out of the way, like It's a Wonderful Life, Santa Claus the movie, Gremlins, all that kind of thing, there wasn't really an awful lot left. Now, Christmas movies, it's a bit like a cottage industry. There are thousands of them, and they start showing them from sort of June, July onwards while the sun's blazing outside and everybody's sunbathing. They're screening Christmas movies. So I tend not to take too much notice of the newer ones. There's a couple that I may take in this year that I've not had chance to watch or not bothered to watch over the last few years, but I'll probably mention those a little bit later on. But if you say that's a decent one, I'll look it up. What's it on? Is it? I presume it's going to be Prime or Netflix or something like that. But I'll have a look, see what I rate to it. Jason Kerr, Ginger Ninja, morning, mate. Sports, yep, they are a thing. I'm with you, Tony. Not a huge sports ball person. Don't watch a lot of it, but I do have my team I support. I haven't even got that. So, Melissa Barrera, Scream 7. That's a name. I'd listened to so many podcasts during that week about what had happened with Melissa Barrera, and guess what? By the time I came to talk about it, I couldn't remember her bloody name. But yeah, I have not been a fan of the new Scream films. The characters have been annoying and the plot holes have been huge. Let the series rest and move on. Do you know what? I tend to agree with you. Much as, when I see a trailer for a sequel or a prequel or a reboot, I look at it and think, wow, that looks really good. The further down the line you get with it, you think, do we really need another one? What is it really going to be any good? And usually they do end up disappointing you. They are watchable, completely forgettable most of the time. It's like what was the one I was thinking about the other night? Halloween. I know Halloween 1, 2 and 3. I love those three. After that, I couldn't tell you the plot of any particular one because I literally can't remember them. Every time I see one come on late at night, sort of Halloween 4, Halloween 5, 7, whatever, I watch it, and every time I watch it, it's like watching something new because I have literally forgotten all about it from the first time I've watched it, maybe the second and third time I've seen it. I still can't remember them. So I'm kind of with you on that one. The Scream thing, it's run its course. Let's come up with something original, something different. The Exorcist Believer starts out really good, then drops down in quality. Then drops down in quality about halfway through, with an extremely dismal last act. Just my opinion, of course. I do hope you enjoy it. I'm sure I will. Great vid as always. Cheers, Jace. Yeah, I mean, The Exorcist Believer, case in point. Would anybody have bothered with it? Well, as much had Ellen Bernstein not been in it. And I've heard Linda Blair makes an appearance, but I'm not sure whether that's true or not. I don't know. I mean, I will have a look at it. It's out on 4K in January, so there's a very good chance I will grab a copy of that. But it's one of those divisive movies. Some say just take it as it is. Don't think about the original. Put the original completely out of your mind, which is a bit difficult, seeing as one of the main characters of the original appears in Exorcist Believer. But I will take a look at it. I'll go into it objectively, virtually completely blind apart from what I've seen on the trailer. And from what I've heard, I will probably enjoy it. But will I watch it again? I think that's probably highly unlikely. Whereas the original Exorcist, I will watch as many times as I can. I love it, absolutely love it. But yeah, thanks for that, Jace. Appreciate that. Mark. I love all the Predator movies. We were talking about the Predator films, weren't we? The fourth movie, The Predator, did go a bit daft, which was surprising considering it was written and directed by Shane Black, who actually played Hawkins in the original Predator. Didn't know that. He also wrote Lethal Weapon. Didn't know that either. There was no Mardis this week as my team won. Oh, here we go, we're on football again. Not that Jason will be happy, but he doesn't get Mardy like me, so all's good. God, you guys too take it seriously. I'm not even going to start going into this again for fear of the hail of abuse I will get for calling it just a game, which it is. Loving your top 100 TV shows, by the way. I was really surprised when you started that. I saw it and I thought, oh, brilliant, another one. Jason, I will be coming back to yours, by the way. You completed yours with Only Fools and Horses, which, what a number one. Yeah, I quite agree with you, absolutely. It probably wouldn't be my number one, but I can definitely see why it's yours, absolutely. So yeah, I'll be coming back to yours, Jace, to talk about your 100, probably in a separate video, because the things I need to say are over 100 programs. Let's see. Your first three choices, as time of recording this, Time. I've seen this on iPlayer and keep meaning to watch it, but I've heard it's quite brutal and a bit nasty. I'm not a massive fan of prison films. The only one I did enjoy and I did watch a lot of it. Sort of like this was the Channel 4 one. What was it called? Screws. Really, really enjoyed that. Second series was definitely better than the first, but I do find them a little bit over the top and a little bit brutal, going right the way back to Alan Parker's Midnight Express, which traumatized me for years. I said for many years after watching that I would never ever visit Turkey, never in a million years, after watching that. But yeah, not the biggest fan of prison movies, but I may take time in. Let's see. Open All Hours, brilliant choice. I've seen a few episodes of it, really enjoyed it. Not seen the whole lot. It is one that I do need to catch up with. The Upshaws, I've never heard of it. You've got me on this one. I've never ever heard of it. Is it a new one? Is it an old one? This is why this top 100 programs is so brilliant, and I'm hoping everybody else jumps on this one, maybe in the new year or at some point. It basically shows, obviously, the shows that we grew up with, but the generational differences. You'll definitely notice it with mine. I get the feeling, Mark, you will be saying, never heard of that, don't know that one, not a clue what that one is. Jason, you'll probably know a few more. Chris, not sure. We've never really been into TV programmes with you, Chris, so I don't know. Guy, pretty much the same as Jason, I think. But I get the feeling a lot of mine are going to be before your time. And unless you were actually around in sort of the 60s and the 70s, a lot of them you won't know. But I'll be starting mine probably in January. As I said the other week, it will be slightly different to you or to yours, whereas I'll just do one a week, basically so I can keep up with it. I haven't really got the time to be doing it sort of every night and doing write-ups and finding videos and images and stuff like that during the week. So it's easier for me if I can do it all on a Sunday, schedule it all for the week, and I've got one show out of the way. I pretty much know what my first one is going to be, but like you, they're going to be in no particular order. And it won't really matter because mine will stretch out for years. Yours was over in 100 days. Mine will go on for years, possibly decades. Who knows if I live that long? But yeah, really loving that, Mark. Looking forward to seeing what's coming up with that one. Guy, great stuff as per usual, mate. Unlike a lot of folk on here, I like Predator 2. I've not seen it, so I can't comment. It's just this thing with it being set in a city rather than the jungle. It kind of puts me off. I've probably seen sort of 30 seconds of it, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, that's not for me. But I will take it in. I'll probably do the whole Predator franchise because the only one I've seen is the original Predator. So there's sequelophobia right in your face with that one. But I will be taking that in at some point, and I'll let you know what I think. It's probably going to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be, but we'll see. Thanks for the Hunya Geekish showing, love. You will enjoy 80s sci-fi. It's a fun episode. I love the podcast, I really do. Yesterday, and I will be coming on to this later on, I've made numerous notes on this one. While I was cleaning the canteen at work, have my little earbuds in, I shut the world out, and I listen to you, I listen to Dave Oliver's videos, anybody's videos that I can just listen to rather than watch while I'm cleaning is just brilliant because it helps the time pass. I've usually got a piece of paper and a pen in my pocket, and every sort of couple of minutes I'm pulling this piece of paper out and writing something down. You'll see in a minute when I come onto it a bit later on. But yeah, I really enjoyed that 80s sci-fi one. It was absolutely brilliant, but I'll come on to that a bit later. 80s action films are next. That'll be a good one. I'll be curious to see what action films come out with that one, because I've never been a massive action movie fan. I'll watch some of them, sort of the Lethal Weapons, the big ones, the Die Hards and stuff like that. But other ones, they kind of sort of went under my radar and stayed under there. So I'll be curious to see what comes out with that one. I'm feeling another pissed up video coming on. Might be soon. I remember you saying you miss them. I do miss them. There's nothing like seeing an aging old hippie pissed as a fart trying to make sense of some movie that he's watched the night before. So please, Guy, yeah, we look forward to that. Absolutely. Air fryers are the future. Right, okay. Forgive me for stepping away from the yellow brick road just for a minute. Air fryers. I am looking at getting one. What I want to know from you guys is which is the best one to get. Roughly how much am I looking at? Which ones have you got? And basically, what are you cooking in them? We could do with some pictures, and don't worry about it not being movie related. We can step away from Xanadu for a minute. It doesn't really matter. Or message me. I'm just really curious to know what you guys are cooking in these things, because all I'm hearing at the moment is you will probably never use your oven again. Most people just use the hobs now. They're all using air fryers. They're apparently very healthy, because obviously you cook with like a teaspoon of oil or something like that. But yeah, just let me know what you guys are cooking in these things, and are they actually worth getting. You've obviously said with air fryers of the future, so you've obviously got one. So this is to all of you. What are you cooking in them, and how much am I looking at? So yeah, I look forward to hearing from you on that one. Jason P. Plenty to talk about as usual. Great vid as per. Glad you mentioned breakfast, because I'd forgotten to take a pack of bacon out the freezer. Thank God it's bacon and not bloody kebabs or whatever it was, or frozen fish and chips I think it was with your granddad once. Nightmare. So I quickly nipped downstairs and got one out. Sunday morning sarnies sorted. That's good. That's relatively normal. I can live with that. Air fryers. Here we go. We have a double ninja. 2 drawers. One starts cooking, set the timer for the other to come on 5 minutes later, then all ready at the same time. Yeah, so let me know what you're cooking in it, Jace. As I say, this is for all of you. Convince me to buy one. Miss Diane was from Crossroads. Benny fancied her. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that very well. Was the other werewolf movie A Company of Wolves? I can't honestly remember. Company of Wolves came out, I think, in '84. There was a third werewolf movie in '81. I'm fairly sure of it, and I will look it up. I should have done it to do with this. Maybe when I take a break, I'll have a look and come back with the answer to that one. I cannot for the life remember what it was, but I don't think it was A Company of Wolves. It's not the one I was thinking of. Can you remember the sequel to Chud? Chud 2, Bud the Chud. No. Well, I do remember it. I remember the VHS being on the racking, but I can't say I ever watched it. Mostly because I've not seen Chud and still haven't. It's only because it was mentioned by either Guy or Callie on HYGIS on the 80s horror thing that they even thought about it. It is one I wouldn't mind looking at. I'm feeling very drawn towards 80s movies at the moment, and I'm not talking about the classics, the big ones. I'm talking about the lower budget, not crap ones, but movies like Chud. God, I had a list written. You would not believe the amount of films I've written down. Obviously, I've been listening to various podcasts on the 80s, and they come out with movies, and you think, God, yes, I remember that, but I've never seen it, and I've written them all down. So I'm going to be taking some of those on, maybe a season of those to talk about. Now, where were we? I'll have a look at sci-fi. I just cannot be doing with space movies or bloody shitty looking aliens. Straight to the point, that's how we like it. I'll look at IMDb's top 100 sci-fi movies and see how many I've seen. Obviously I love the alien movies, The Fly, The Predator, The Thing. Yeah, they're all the absolute classics that you obviously you would like. I did look at your selection, by the way, but I've not written them down. You do seem to like the dystopian future type movies, Mad Max 2, all that sort of thing. I think The Day After Tomorrow was on there. But as you say, it's just space movies. You've got no time for like Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica and all that sort of thing. Totally get that. Totally get that. I am the same with rom-coms. I've probably seen 3, 4, maybe 5 that I've really enjoyed. But as soon as I've seen the term rom-com to describe a movie, instant turn off. It's like, oh God, really? No. Sleepless in Seattle is one of my favourites. I absolutely adore that movie, but mostly because of the soundtrack. Oh God, I can't think of any others. I could probably name 2 or 3 if I thought about it for long enough. But yeah, I totally get the space thing. With me, it's rom-coms, and overly violent material. That's not really a genre, but you know the kind of thing I mean. Why are you paying probably £25 a month for sports channels you don't watch? The reason, Jason, is because I don't pay for it. Rob pays for it. I don't know why I have brought this up so many times. We have not only Virgin Media but Sky. Now, we had Sky before we had Virgin Media, and the reasoning behind Virgin Media was because he knew that I wanted a lot of the channels that were on there and a lot of the movies and stuff that were on there. So he got it for me, and the first thing I said was, are we getting rid of Sky? No, I want to keep that because I like Sky. Oh, okay. What about the sports? We don't need the sports, surely. Well, it's not that much, you know. And in the end, I just gave up in the end, and I said, whatever, you do whatever you want. So the reason I pay £25 for sports channels is that I don't pay for them. So I've given up on that one. He keeps saying he will get rid of one or the other, and I says, don't get rid of Virgin, don't do that. I'll take over that, paying for that one if it's too expensive, but no, won't hear it. So that's the reason. Keep up the good work, mate. Cheers, Jace. You watched a movie called Genie, Melissa McCarthy. I heard reviews of this yesterday. They're basically saying it's a charming Christmas movie, just generally good fun. And I think you put, well, that shite went off after 15 minutes, so I'm guessing you weren't overly impressed with that one. It's not one I've watched. I've not seen Bernard and the Genie though, which I think is the original. So Mark said, really, I was going to watch that, probably won't bother with it then. Lee Barber, thank you for saving me from suffering. I'm sure it's not that bad. But you did enjoy the new Eddie Murphy film, Candy Cane Lane. Was listening to a review of this on, I believe, the Empire podcast yesterday, and they were basically saying that it's a good movie, but it's absolutely batshit crazy. It's Eddie Murphy doing what Eddie Murphy does best. Obviously, the comedy, undemanding stuff. He can do this sort of stuff in his sleep, and they reckon it's quite good. So it is one that I almost certainly will take in. And as we're on about sort of Christmas movies that I've not seen, the more up-to-date ones, that's probably one that I will take a look at, mainly because I've heard a lot about it. Don't they get attacked by the 12 days of Christmas things or something like that? And apparently the 8 maids of milking is something you'll never forget. So I tried to think what's going to be involved in that one, but that's one I probably will take a look at. Let me just scroll up a bit. And I'm loving, by the way, your non-Christmas movie advent. This is what I'm going to be doing, but not on the scale that you're doing it. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 titles a week. And for those of you that don't know what it is, it's just movies that were screened at Christmas that aren't specifically Christmas films, but were always on pretty much every Christmas. I will probably go back slightly further than you did, Jay, because I think most of yours will be from sort of the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. A lot of mine will be from the 70s. But you started with a cracker, Live and Let Die. There was always a Bond film on every Christmas, well, pretty much every bank holiday, and it was always an event. I remember Live and Let Die. I worked at Comet Electrical. Do you remember them? In the late 70s, mid to late 70s, and they had the first sort of VHS recorders, a whole rack of them, and they set one of them to record Live and Let Die when it first premiered on terrestrial TV, and they played it non-stop, back to front, every single day, and it felt really good when people used to come up to you and say, God, is that Live and Let Die? Yeah, recorded it. So yeah, I do remember how special it was having these movies to watch over and over again, you know, basically when they were first screened on TV. So I totally get that. The next one, Digby, the biggest dog in the world. I haven't seen this, but I do remember it, and it was on, as you say, every Christmas. It was a 70s thing. I think it was about 1974, 75. Jim Dale was in it, and it's one that I do want to look up, basically because I've never seen it, and it's 1970s. So yes, I will be taking that one in. Let's see. This is your this is basically your description of what you're doing. Films I grew up with watching that were always on TV at Christmas. This was definitely on every Christmas in the 80s on ITV. I think we were talking about Live and Let Die there. Those that have never seen this movie before will hate it and think it's the biggest pile of shit they've seen. Oh no, I think this is Digby. But if you grew up watching movies in the 80s on TV, then you may enjoy this for a nostalgia trip. I watched this again last year and I still enjoy it. It takes me back to being a kid again. This is why I watch a lot of these movies, basically for the nostalgia factor. And as you say, it makes you remember happier days, simpler days when you were younger, when you were a kid. It was just brilliant. And one of them you put down was Whistle Down the Wind. What a classic. Hayley Mills, daughter of John Mills. Alan Bates as the convict. Chris says, not one I've seen. Should I add it? Jason says, most definitely. Chris says, the boss has spoken, I shall abide. Jason may be the boss, but I am your God, your Lord. Kneel before Zod. Wrong film. Oh God. Right, shall I take a break? I'm into 25 minutes. Let's see. I think I can probably just do this for 5 minutes. Last night's double feature was, first off, When a Stranger Calls. What can you say about this film that's not already been said? Chris, let's see. Chris, When a Stranger Calls is up there as one of the best psychological thrillers made for me. Terrified me as a kid. You watched this as a kid. I remember seeing this. This will definitely date me. When it first came out, would have been about 1979 at Burton Odeon. And I think I can safely forget, and I think I can speak for anybody that saw it for the first time, you never forget the moment you realise that the calls are coming from inside the house. It had never been done before, and I do remember my heart sinking and thinking, oh my fucking God. It's one hell of a movie. Those of you that have not seen When a Stranger Calls, please grab it. You will not regret it. Probably one of the original, next to Halloween, one of the original Babysitter in Peril movies, but there's more to it than that. That part of it is probably the first, 15-20 minutes, but it's what it builds on. And the terror, the tension just ramps up for the whole sort of 100 minutes or 105 minutes or whatever it is, but totally recommended. Nick Cross, you said you'll have to let me know what you think of this one. It's still on my watch list. This is Last Night in Soho. This was the second half of the double bill last night. Mark says, yes, finally. I do get round to these things. It just takes me a while nowadays. What can I say about Last Night in Soho? You were right. I can hear you all baying like wolves going, we bloody told you so. Yes, you did tell me so, and it was absolutely brilliant. It stars, let me run through these. Anna Taylor-Joy, not familiar with her. Thomasin McKenzie. I heard an interview with her on, I believe it was the Empire podcast again, yesterday, talking about her new movie, Eileen, which sounds absolutely amazing. Another psychological thriller. I'll see if I can post the trailer a bit later on. But it sounds absolutely amazing, if a little bit disturbing. Who else have we got here? Matt Smith, ex-Doctor Who. Dinah Rigg, her final appearance. She was amazing in this. Terence Stamp. Terence Stamp is still going. He looks amazing, and he's as sinister as hell in this. Rita Tushingham. I love Rita Tushingham. Ever since I saw her in a movie called Smashing Time with Vanessa Redgrave, was it Ling Redgrave? I can't remember. It's one of the Redgraves, about two young women who go to make their fortune in London, swinging 60s London. What a brilliant movie. And she was one of the stars of that. Apparently Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are in this. I can't remember seeing them, and also Richard O'Sullivan as additional punter. The last I heard of Richard O'Sullivan, it was in basically an old folks home for old actors, and the pictures that I've seen of him, he was in no condition to be appearing in movies. So I'm wondering whether they've got the right Richard O'Sullivan. I'm going to have to look into that one, because I can't believe I wouldn't have recognised him. It was directed by Edgar Wright. Basically, a young lady goes from Cornwall to London to basically make a life as a fashion designer, and gets, well, not so much involved, but rents a room from Dinah Rigg, and this room has a history, and she starts seeing ghosts. You think she's travelling back in time to 60s London. It's an amazing movie. The soundtrack is just awesome. It's one classic tune after another, and it's not like one every 10 minutes. There's one pretty much every 2 minutes, and the songs Cilla Black, all that sort of thing, and the title track I absolutely adored. Last Night in Soho. I thought it had been specially written for the movie, but it hasn't. It's by Dave D. Dozy Beaky Mickentich. Can't believe I've never heard it before, but it fitted the end titles perfectly. So this may be one that I pick up on 4K, because I've heard on 4K it is absolutely amazing. But if you've not seen Last Night in Soho, and pretty much all of you have seen it, I'm the last one in line for this one, as per usual. I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish, and it is one that I would like to add to my physical media collection. So I will be nipping into HMV at some point to take advantage of their 2 for 25 quid offer on 4Ks. But if you've not seen Last Night in Soho, 100% recommend it, and I truly regret not watching it before. So right, I'm going to take a quick break for a couple of seconds, and I'll be back very, very shortly. And we're back. It's weird, towards the end of this week, I didn't think I'd have enough to talk about to fill 30 minutes. It's strange the way it works. It came to about Wednesday, and I thought, all I've really got is last week's comments. I've not really had time to put anything together as far as original material or anything like this. What the hell am I going to talk about? Came to Thursday, and I thought, this is going to be one of the shortest videos ever. It's going to be 30 minutes or under. I hope everybody understands. Then Friday, everything happened. You got Mark's top 100 TV programmes, Jason's video, which I'm going to come on to, Hunya Geek is showing to do with 80s sci-fi, some bits and pieces that I've had through the post. All of a sudden, this is looking like possibly an hour, maybe more, I don't know, we'll see how we go. But it's so weird the way it works. I honestly didn't think I'd have enough to talk about to keep it going for 30 minutes this week, and you guys, as per usual, have done me proud. You really are truly awesome, you lot. This is, it's you guys, and obviously me, that make this what it is. The group is just, as I've said before, one of the best, if not the best, movie and TV Facebook group ever. I don't know of any others that do what we're doing, and it is mostly down to you guys keeping it going. The posts, the different threads, you are absolutely amazing, and I can't thank you enough. I know I keep saying this, but I'm so grateful that you guys watch this stuff every week, and you hang on my every word and send me comments and give me stuff to talk about for the following week. It's you guys that keep this going, and I will always be very grateful for that. So yeah, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, onwards and upwards for next year. See what happens. Let's see, what have I got here? Oh, the other werewolf movie, Jason. Wolfen, a classic from 1981, Albert Finney. Not so much to do with werewolves as sort of phantom wolves, that kind of thing. But it fell into the werewolf genre as it was. So yeah, this is the one I was trying to think of. I knew there was a third one, and I knew that I got it somewhere, and I thought, I'm going to bloody well find it before I go back and do the second or third half of the video. So yeah, Wolfen is the one that I was trying to think of, so that's put me out of misery on that one. Right, Chris, loving the Hukes Christmas Advent Filmathon. Your intros are bloody amazing, mate. What software do you use? I think it's Apple, isn't it? But yeah, loving these Advent movies that you're doing, mate. Die Hard. It is a Christmas movie. The debate rages on, but to me, it is a Christmas movie. It has always been a Christmas movie. I think even Bruce Willis finally admitted, yes, it is a Christmas film. So a little bit disappointed to find out that the picture quality on the 4K is not as well, maybe not as good as it probably could be. I was quite surprised about that. You would think that with a major release like that, a huge film, one of the biggest of the 90s, that they would have taken a little bit more care and got it absolutely spot on before releasing it. But maybe there'll be a special edition coming along at some point that'll put all that right. I think you said that the sound and that was superb. It's just the picture quality is a little bit blurry and a little bit soft in certain parts of it. So A little bit disappointed with that, but it's a movie that I will buy. But now you've said that, I'll probably hold off on the 4K. More than likely grab a copy on Blu-ray at some point. And as for He-Man and She-Ra's Christmas special, I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm familiar with He-Man as such, as far as the 1987 movie, which I've never seen, but I can see the VHS cover in my head now. It was huge at the time. It really was absolutely huge. Dolph Lundgren. Not familiar with the animated series that came before that, or the comic books that inspired that. But as for He-Man and She-Ra's Christmas special, I'd be very curious to have a look at that, just to see what it looks like. In the same vein that I couldn't imagine the Star Wars holiday special. My God, that is one that I really need to take in this year. I have seen bits of it, and it is as bad as you would probably think it was. But I would still want to watch it because it's a real curiosity. It's like you watch it, and the bit that I've seen, you look at it and you think, who the hell greenlit this? Who the hell said this is a cracking idea? I'll have a watch of the whole thing over the festive period and let you know whether it is as bad as I've heard. But it's gained legendary status. It will probably never see the light of day as far as a Blu-ray, a DVD, or especially not a Blu-ray release goes. But I have managed to get hold of a copy, so I will be taking a look at that at some point. But yeah, loving these Christmas specials, mate. Keep them coming. Can't wait to see what you've got in store for us over the next sort of few months. Jason Kerr, our Ginger Ninja, loved your November and December Blu-ray and DVD updates. I love looking at other people's collections. Let's see what you got on it. Conjuring 2, seen it, loved it, based on the Enfield haunting, I believe. Last Night in Soho. I mean, I watched it last night, as I said earlier on. Absolutely superb. One of the best movies I've seen this year, without a doubt. And I almost certainly will be invested in a 4K version of that, because I've heard the 4K really takes it to another level. So I think that is one that I probably will invest in. I know that I said once I've seen it, and I wouldn't watch a film again, but that was just the soundtrack made it worth it for me. But yeah, that's almost certainly one that I want to invest in. Halloween Ends. What a horrible reputation this movie has. I didn't think it was as bad as everybody was saying it was. It wasn't a Halloween movie in the traditional sense of Halloween movies, but I didn't think it was that bad. I know Dave Oliver's got some very definite opinions on this one. I don't think he liked it at all. But for me, I thought it was all right. It wasn't as bad as everybody said it was to me. Happy Death Day, never seen it. It's one that I wouldn't mind taking a look at, because I've heard that the director's done a really, really cracking job with this one. So it's one that I definitely wouldn't mind having a look at. 47 Meters Down. Saw this a long time ago. It is one of the better shark movies, Jay, so I think you'd be quite impressed with it. It's not bad at all. Some real tense moments in it. Ran, a Japanese movie. I didn't see that one coming, I have to admit. You caught me completely off guard with that one. It's one that I remember from the 80s. I've not seen it, but again, remember the VHS sleeve very clearly. And it's one that I actually wouldn't mind taking a look at. I take it it's one of your favourites if you've invested in that one. So yeah, I will have a look at that. Pearl. I haven't seen the original, or the first movie, which I believe was called X, yet. So that's one that I do need to take in. I've heard very, very good things about it. I've heard even better things about Pearl. So yeah, that is one that I wouldn't mind a look at. The Warriors. God, I really, really want this. The version of The Warriors I've got on Blu-ray has got, I think it's the director's cut, and it's basically the whole story is punctuated with the turning of a comic book, and it doesn't look right. It really doesn't. That's more in the vein of something like Creepshow or something like that, but not The Warriors. And I've been dying for the original theatrical version to come back out on Blu-ray or 4K, so that I can grab a copy of it and have both versions. I will almost certainly always be watching the theatrical version though. I thought that was superb. It's a total classic. Dave Lowe would completely disagree with that. He absolutely hated it. He just didn't like it at all. He didn't see what all the fuss was about. I've tried to convince him over sort of the last few months or years or whatever, and he's not swaying on it. He didn't like it, so that's the end of that one. But yes, if that comes out in the UK with both versions, and I believe I've heard rumours that Arrow or someone like that, or is it 88 Films, can't remember, will be releasing that version, I will be grabbing a copy of that. Greenland, remember, very good reviews of this. It was an end of the world thing, something to do with a meteorite hitting Earth. And I heard some amazing reviews of it, saying that it was one of the best of its type. So that is one that I wouldn't mind a look at. The Black Phone, not watched it yet. Scott Derrickson announced this week that there is to be a sequel. They're bringing back all the original characters, and from what I've heard on various podcasts this week, the grabber was in no condition to be grabbing anybody by the end of the original. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, because they want Ethan Hawke back as the grabber. But I do need to take in the Black Phone, which I believe is on Sky Cinema at the moment. So I will be taking that one in time for when the sequel comes out. Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. We don't mention that one because Guy doesn't think it's canon. He's got some very definite opinions on this one. I love them. I love both the Peter Cushing movies. I think they're absolutely brilliant. As for them not being canon, I honestly don't know. I just think they're colourful, they're bright, they're brilliant. Absolutely love them. Guy, completely the opposite end of the scale. Hates them. So, what else you got here? Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon, and Game of Death. Nice little Bruce Lee collection there. I'm still erring on the side of the Arrow 4K individual releases, not the box set, because I believe I've missed the boat on that one. I think it was a limited edition set, and I think they're pretty much all sold out, but they are releasing them individually on 4K. I just need people to tell me that the quality is significantly better, because there is absolutely no point in buying them all over again to watch them and think they don't really look that much different. So we'll see how we go with that one. But total classics, absolutely, Jace. Resident Evil, never seen it. It's based on a computer game, so I kind of shied away from that one. The Lost Boys, total stone cold classic. I've actually got the soundtrack in the car at the moment. I'm not playing it much because I've actually got the Christmas CDs out. I know that's a bit sad, we're 3 weeks away, but I've already started playing Christmas music. So The Lost Boys has been sort of pushed to the back of the glove rack. And Blade, brilliant. I haven't seen it for many, many years, but I do remember it being really, really good and wouldn't mind a look at it. So a cracking collection there, Jace. Really impressed with the ones you've picked up. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to pick up in January. Scott, you did a little apology video for not doing a monthly live stream due to having to work a lot of overtime in December. I mean, I never seem to get time to watch these live streams of anybody's because they're normally quite long. There's absolutely no need to apologise for anything like that, mate. As we've said before, real life, it does get in the way of our online personas sometimes, and it does. You can't help it. And I think people do forget that we've got jobs outside of this. So a lot of the time we don't have time to do the stuff that we would like to do. I tend to plan everything out as best I can, but as I said earlier on, this week it just came to the end of the week and I honestly thought I'd have bugger all to talk about. So that's how it goes sometimes. But occasionally, as we've said before, real life does get in the way of what we do on here, but there's absolutely no need to apologise for stuff like that, mate. Absolutely none at all. I totally get it, and I do. As I say, I work 8 hours a day, then I'm up at my mother's for 2-3 hours a day. By the time I get home, I've basically got time for tea, bit of telly and bed, and that's it. I'm lucky if I see 8 o'clock nowadays. So I do totally get it, mate. Dave Oliver, Oh, the Night Swim trailer reaction video. You like the look of it, and so do I. I watched it this morning. It looks bloody brilliant, I gotta say. Haunted swimming pool. You've got to admit that's original. What we were saying earlier about sequels and prequels and reboots, it's like, please do something original, something we've not seen before. And a haunted swimming pool, I've not seen anything like that before, and it does look packed full of jump scares, which means I'll probably like it. So yeah, I will be taking a look at that one. What else have I got here? I'm going to go over. I've got some notes here. These are the notes I was talking about. Look at this bloody lot. This is what I was writing yesterday while I was cleaning. So let's see. I'll put this down. See, there is something in it. Black coffee. Forgive me if this is a little bit disjointed. These are all loose notes that I wrote down while I was actually cleaning tables and mopping floors yesterday. Honey Geek is showing the 80s sci-fi episode. Absolutely loved it. Really, really enjoyed this. Really pleased, by the way, that you have finally banned the trolls. They're arseholes. They're fucking idiot. I have absolutely no time for them. I've never had anything like that on my YouTube channel or on the Facebook page. And if I did, yes, it would hurt for about 5 seconds, and then I would delete it, ban them, and that's it. These people have no idea basically how tedious and boring they are, and that's the worst thing, is that they are bloody boring. Anybody can sit behind a keyboard, tap in an insulting or a horrible remark, post it, and then basically have no accountability whatsoever. So I'm really, really pleased you banned them. Keep on banning them. Don't give them the time of day. Do not reply to them. They ain't worth the time. They're not worth the effort. And they're certainly not worth all the hurt they cause. As I say, they're just boring, fucking pointless idiots. And that's my rant for this week. So I'm really glad you banned them. So let's see. Choices. 80s sci-fi. Callie. Flash Gordon. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Bright, colourful, loud. Dino De Laurentiis directed. Sam Jones, Peter Wingard was in there. Jason King from Department S. Really, really enjoyed it. Loved it. Escape from New York. Absolutely brilliant. Saw it at the cinema when it first came out. Loved it. I've loved it ever since. Seen it countless times. Never get bored of it. Haven't seen Escape from LA. Gotta confess, I haven't seen that one. So I can't pass comment on that one, but I really, really would like to see it, if just to say that I have seen it. What else have I got here? Day of the Dead. I see what you mean. That kind of crosses boundaries. I remember seeing that a long, long time ago, probably when it was first released on VHS, which would have been about, 85? I thought it was all right. Nothing, to me, can match Dawn of the Dead, because it was just horror perfection, a masterpiece, complete and utter masterpiece. It was one of the few examples of the sequel being as good as, if not better than, the original, which was of course Romero's Night of the Living Dead. So yeah, I kind of get you on that one. 4, Spaceballs, seen it a couple of times, loved it. Mel Brooks, complete genius. I always say Mel Brooks is the closest that the Americans got to Benny Hill, with obviously the sexist jokes and all that sort of thing. He was the closest they ever got to it, and his movies are superb. Blazing Saddles never ever doesn't make me laugh. High Anxiety, brilliant. Young Frankenstein, superb. He's just a complete original and super. Yeah, Spaceballs was brilliant, and I would like to see it again. I actually ran into it on Prime last night, so I've added it to the watch list. Your honourable mentions, you were supposed to do 5, but I think you crossed over on 2 of them. So you did some honourable mentions. Transformers the movie, not really my thing. Haven't seen it. I wouldn't mind seeing the animated movie, but I think I probably need to go back and watch the TV series before I tackle that one. Critters, loved the original. Haven't seen any of the sequels. I am aware that Leonardo DiCaprio began life as an actor in one of them, but I haven't seen it. Howard the Duck. I am really curious to watch this. This has gained such a cult following over the years. Never seen it. Always meant to sort of grab a look at it. So I might see if there's a Blu-ray out there that I can grab. Failing that, I'm fairly sure it's going to be on one of the streaming services because we stream everything nowadays, don't we? So it's almost certainly going to be on there. But Howard the Duck, I actually wouldn't mind a look at that. Guy, your choices. Superman 2. As you say, Christopher Reeve, and as I've said many, many times, Christopher Reeve is Superman. He will always be, to me, the only Superman. And the original trilogy, Superman the movie, Superman 2 and 3, were just brilliant. 3, not as brilliant, but Superman 1 and 2, movie perfection. And you never get bored watching them. What was your next one? Mad Max 2. I need to re-watch this one because I remember watching that one fairly recently because I watched the whole sort of Mad Max quadrilogy or whatever you call it. Was it quadrilogy or whatever? And I remember thinking, not as good as the original, but it's all right. But I do need to take another look at it. So yeah, I kind of, yeah, Super Mad Max 2, yeah, not bad. Wrath of Khan, oh. Yeah, you're talking to one of the few people here that actually enjoyed Star Trek the Motion Picture, the original from 1979. I thought it was really clever, really smart. Yes, it was a little slow in places. It dragged a bit on certain scenes, but overall I thought it was superb, and it's one of the best 4K transfers I think I've ever seen. I've yet to watch the whole thing, but I've flicked through it, and the image is stunning. The soundtrack is brilliant. So yeah, I'm afraid we're going to cross swords on that one. I did enjoy the motion picture, even though Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is clearly the better movie. So yeah, that's that one. Runaway. I haven't seen this for years. Tom Selleck and the mechanical spiders. I do remember Gene Simmons being in it. I remember reading that Gene Simmons was in it and thinking, that's the guy from Kiss. That's going to be crap. And it was actually brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. It's one that I haven't seen for a while and wouldn't mind taking in again. So I will be having a go at that one. And your honourable mention, Bill and Ted. Not seen any of them, so I don't know. It's again 2 that I do want to take. Is it 3? They're up to now. The Abyss. Seen it once, loved it. There is a special edition 4K of that coming out in the new year, along with 2 other Cameron movies. I believe it's Aliens and True Lies. Not so much bothered about True Lies, but I almost certainly will be getting Aliens, and definitely The Abyss, because it's been a while since I've seen it, and knowing Cameron, he will have taken very great care with the transfers, so I bet they're going to look absolutely stunning. So yeah, really enjoyed that episode, guys. Looking forward to 80s action, as I mentioned earlier on. That's coming hopefully next week. So give me something to listen to while I'm cleaning up again next Saturday, guys. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Jason's vid. Oh my God, Jason, what a brilliant video. 30 minutes. I knew you could do it. I'm so proud of you, dude. You've come from, basically, I think your first video was something like 2 minutes, which is probably what mine was. And now look at you, 30 minutes and you're flying, mate. Really enjoyed this one. Let me go through these. Christmas TV nowadays, crap. Load of bollocks. I very rarely watch it. The only thing I'm going to watch religiously over Christmas is EastEnders. All of this, as you said, Strictly, and all this, Call the Bloody Midwife, it just isn't what it used to be. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day were just times when you very rarely moved from the TV. It was just magic. Every single program, near enough, was just superb. You found yourself, you need to tape this, or you need to video that and watch that one, and get somebody else to tape that one so that you can watch that at a later date. It was just crammed full of absolute Christmas magic. Nowadays, we used to spend ages. You remember this, obviously, because I think you mentioned it, circling all the programs that you wanted to see in the Christmas radio and TV times, which, as you say, were separate editions back then. You'd spend ages doing it. Now, I'm looking forward to getting the Christmas radio times, which is out, I think, on the 12th. But as for circling programs, there won't be that many to do. I'll just flick through it. I bet there'll probably be half a dozen, maybe 10 programs that I definitely want to watch, and that's pretty much it. So, these notes are so rough. Just bear with me. Streaming VHS DVD. Yeah, I was basically thinking that kids nowadays don't realise what we went through in the sort of the 70s and 80s before you had streaming services. We had VHS, and before that, as you say, you had to literally sit in front of the TV and watch a program, or you didn't see it. Things were very rarely repeated. Nowadays, you can stream anything for weeks, months afterwards, so you never actually need to miss anything. You probably don't even need to record anything. Round about now, normally, I'd be thinking I need to clear off a bit of the Virgin Media box to get some percentage to do all the Christmas programs. But you know what? I'm really not that bothered. I'm really not. I'm not that fussed about getting loads of programs watched to create loads of space on there so I can record all these brilliant programs, because there ain't going to be any. You know there ain't. So yeah, kids nowadays don't realise, what we had to deal with back then. So, oh, you compared your mother-in-law to Sprouts. Is she that bad? Poor woman. And yes, we all remember our first VHS recorder. Mine was a Ferguson Video Star. It had a nasty habit of chewing tapes up. That noise that it used to, oh God, do you remember it when you used to rent a tape out? It only happened 2 or 3 times for me, but it did happen when you rented a tape out and all you could hear was that crunching noise, and you think, shit, it's chewed it up. Again, kids nowadays don't realise what they're missing. But it chewed up so many Scotch VHS tapes. Hopefully, or thankfully, only a couple of actual pre-recorded ones that I'd rented out. And I normally managed to just very carefully sort of tease them out and get them back into the video cassette. So there was no real damage done, but it was a real fear every time you put a tape in that it was going to chew the thing up. And like I say, TV specials back then, everything had a feature-length episode or a longer episode. My personal favourite were the Likely Lads Christmas special. They only did the one in 1974, but I watch it every single year. Last of the Summer Wine, they were usually feature-length episodes. Only Fools and Horses, again, the same. They were just quality. Nowadays, it's just rub. Don't even get me started on it. Christmas Memories, showing it. Yeah, as I say, I'm going to be doing. I might as well do this one now. Actually, my first Christmas memory of a movie that was on every single Christmas without fail, and I love this. I never get bored of it. The Railway Children, starring a young Jenny Agutter, Dinah Shaw, Bernard Cribbins. Just brilliant. Basically, a family have to move from central London to the countryside into a lovely little cottage, which backs onto a railway track, and it's just basically the adventures that they have in the countryside while they're waiting for their father to come home. Jenny Agutter is just superb in this. Daddy, my daddy. You remember that? Daddy, my daddy. The last line. It almost makes me bawl every time I see it, but that is my first Christmas memory of movies that are on, which aren't exactly Christmas films, but they're on anyway, so I'll come back with more of those next week. What else have I got here? I've got about 3 minutes to get through this. Christmas music. Again, total rubbish nowadays. I couldn't even name anything in the charts, let alone the Christmas run-up. But the Christmas #1 in the 70s and the 80s, again, it was an event. And I remember pretty much I couldn't name the year that they were #1, but I know them all. Mud, Lonely This Christmas, and all the others. Slave, Merry Christmas, Everybody, Wizard, Wish I could be Christmas Every Day. They were just absolutely brilliant. What we got nowadays, Lad Baby, what the fuck is that? What is it? It's just, no. And as for Band-Aid 2, what a complete atrocity that was. And as for that line that they cut out of it, was it a line they cut out of it, or something that means that they can't play it nowadays? Thank God. We never need to listen to it again. I think I can safely say that my videos are free from road rage. I think you witnessed somebody going the wrong way through the hospital car park and you kind of lost it. So, yeah, you don't get that with mine. Let's see. I love the idea of the Band-Aid recreation for next year, by the way, getting everybody back together to do it. At least you'll have the original artist and it'll have something of the original flavour of the first one, which is what we want. See, number one this year. Now, you said George Michael last Christmas. With Shane McGowan dying a couple of days ago, I'm fairly sure the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl with Fairy Tale of New York will make Christmas number one. Let's see, shall we? Whose body is it in EastEnders? I'm going to go left field with this. I'm going to say Nish Panesar. There are 2 or 3 bad guys being built up into this. It could be anybody, but I'm going to say Nish Panesar. I don't know why. I just get the feeling this is going to be something with what's been happening with Eve and Suki just recently. But that's my guess, Nish Panesar. I think you said Dean Wicks. Probably a very good guess. I think that's it. Brilliant video, Jace. I can't wait to see your next one, whatever it's going to be. You did really well with that one, mate. And to do that all in the hospital car park, well done. Well chuffed. So, right, I'm going to take another quick break and I'll be back with another, I reckon, 10 or 15 minutes worth. For saying I got nothing to talk about 2 days ago, just look at this. So, I'll be back in a few seconds. And we're back for another few minutes. Right, where to start? Let's see. Wonka, the new Willy Wonka movie, has been getting some excellent reviews. I'm quite surprised, actually. I didn't think this would be as well received as it has been. Even the critics seem to like it. Jason, you say, good to hear, not that it would stop me going anyway if it had bad reviews. I mean, I'll take a look at it, definitely, but obviously, like you and everybody, we're huge fans of the original from 1971 with not Gene Hackman, what was his name? I can't remember his name. Who played Willy Wonka? Gene... Answers on a postcard. It'll come back to me when I'm not thinking about it. But we're all great fans of that movie, so we're interested to see what they've made of it. You've got Hugh Grant in there as one of the Oompa Loompas. Obviously Timothy Chalamet as Wonka. So yeah, we're curious to see how it works out. Maybe Jason, you can do as a little video review when you've been to see it. I assume it's going to be Tamworth that you're going to go and see it at, so we'll look forward to hearing about that one. Mad Max. The trailer dropped this week for what they're calling a Mad Max. I've got Sage here, but it's Saga. My typing is so shit. A Mad Max Saga Furiosa. I've got to say, I didn't even recognise Chris Hemsworth under all that facial hair. The trailer looks amazing. Now, I've got a pretty sort of checkered history with Mad Max. I loved the original, was a little bit tepid about Mad Max 2. Mad Max 3 wasn't brilliant, but Tina Turner was in it, which kind of raised the bar a bit. And Fury Road, I thought it was all right, but not by far the best one, which was an unpopular opinion at the time with certain people. But I've got to say, this one doesn't look bad. I mean, in George Miller we trust. He directed the original. He's directed a couple of the others. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out what's been done with this. I mean, let me just read out some of the comments on the trailer. It's been getting pretty positive sort of reviews right across the board. I'm not putting names to these because I don't know who they are. These are just ones that I've sort of lifted off YouTube. Nobody builds post-apocalyptic war machines like George and his team. Absolutely incredible. Fury Road is still one of the best theatre experiences I've ever had. Definitely checking this out. Another one, Fury Road is one of my top 3 movies of all time, and I'm so excited to see more of this world and Furiosa. Another one, it's like a comic book that came to life. Another one, it's been years since a trailer gave me chills. It's been years since I wanted to go to the movies this much. I will witness it, and certainly not just the once. Finally, George Miller and team, making great movies to bring film lovers, fans, and enthusiasts back into the theatre for another serving of this delicious meal that is the Mad Max universe. Oh, what a day! What a lovely day! So happy right now. this, that guy's definitely looking forward to it. But yeah, from what I've seen of it, it don't look bad. I don't think but I do need to watch Fury Road again. In fact, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go through the whole sort of caboodle all over again in time for when this comes out, which I think is next year, and see whether I can reassess what I thought of them the first time round. I'm still going to say that the original is the best. I'm fairly sure of that, but we'll see how we go. Right, I'll put this drink down. I was talking earlier about the 80s sci-fi edition of Honey Geek is showing, so I thought that I would dig out some of my personal favourite 80s sci-fi movies and show them off, starting with one that we all agree on, Flash Gordon. Again, total classic. It reminded me in style a lot of Barbarella, as it was done by the same director, I believe. So yeah, it had a very Barbarella kind of feel to this, without all the sexiness that went with it. But Flash Gordon, absolutely superb. This is one of my favourites of the 80s, Twilight Zone the movie. I adore the series, the original black and white series. They remade it as a colour series, I think in the mid-80s, which wasn't bad, not at all. And then they remade it again with Jordan Peele fairly recently, probably a year or two back. I watched them, found most of them completely and utterly confusing. But this is Jordan Peele for you. This is why I didn't get on with his movies. Get Out, I haven't seen Us. I did watch, what was the one he did? Nope, the one about UFOs, or supposedly about UFOs. I had such high hopes for that. I went into it thinking, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be Close Encounters for grown-ups. It wasn't. I didn't enjoy it, not one bit. But this, The Twilight Zone, the movie, superb. Vic Morrow actually lost his life on the set of this. He was beheaded by a helicopter blade. So tragic, but superb movie. Really, really loved it. Next one, Flight of the Navigator. This is one that I only caught up with either last year or the year before. It's been out for about 40 years, but that was the first time I actually caught up with it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Would definitely watch it again. Very family friendly, with a slight sort of adult edge to it. I thought this was superb, and it's another of those movies that I really regret not watching earlier. Next one, 2010, the year we make contact. This is obviously the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I absolutely loved. Haven't seen it for a long time. Didn't get the ending, as nobody really did. But I really, really enjoyed this sequel. I haven't seen it for many, many years. In fact, I don't even think this is out of the... I think the disc is actually still in the cellophane. Oh, it isn't. So we'll have to have a watch of this. Roy Scheider is in this, which obviously raises it above most sort of sci-fi movies. But I'm definitely going to take this in again. I can't remember very much about it, but I do remember thinking, wow, that was good. So... oh, Guy, you nearly said this one. I thought you were going to say it. The Empire Strikes Back. Again, this is an example, like Aliens, and although The Godfather 2, this is one of those examples of the sequel being mostly better than the original. I will always have a special place for Star Wars: A New Hope, because it was the first one I saw. I saw it at the cinema. When it first came out in 1977, it absolutely blew my mind. And this, we had to wait 4 years for this. I think it came out in 1981, but what a sequel. I do need to watch it in 4K. I haven't seen it for many years, but I'm looking forward to that one. And this one, whether you've heard of it or not, from 1984, Dreamscape. Now, there have been many movies concerning this particular subject matter since this came out over the years. But this was one of the first that I remember, and I think this predated slightly Nightmare on Elm Street. It was basically the subject of a guy who can go into other people's dreams and control them. And it's just an amazing movie. Dennis Quaid is in this. Who else is in this? Max von Sydow is in this. Kate Capshaw. Christopher Plummer plays the villain in this. What a movie. I haven't seen this for a long time, and I do need to watch it again and do a proper review of it. But yeah, Dreamscape, if you've not seen it, it comes highly recommended, definitely by me. So that's a tiny handful of my favourite 80s sci-fi movies. Quick review for you. I've had my interest in the MCU reignited over the last couple of weeks. I didn't think it had ever happen. I pretty much thought, I'm going to abandon this. I'm not going to bother with them anymore. And I watched the first of this particular trilogy and thought, do you know what? I'm going to carry on with it. Spider-Man. The original trilogy, directed by Sam Raimi, all three of them, starring Tobey Maguire. Absolutely loved these, absolutely adored them. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Loved every minute of each one, to the point where I watched one on, I think, one Saturday, and I watched the other two back to back the following weekend. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed them. There's nothing much I can tell you about these that you don't already know, because I'm obviously one of the last people on the planet to see these. But I thought they were great. Favourite would have to be... I couldn't name a favourite. I thought they were all good. The Green Goblin, which was obviously Willem Dafoe, was superb. The guy that played the Sandman was brilliant. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus, superb. Yeah, I'm going to carry on with the MCU journey. I'm going to finish these off, the Spider-Man movies, and I'm going to go back to Thor, the original, which is the last one that I think that's as far as I got, was Thor, and I sort of lost interest. But yeah, I'm going back on it now. What have I bought? Well, obviously I can't complete the Spider-Man journey without going for these. The Amazing Spider-Man. Can't tell you anything about it because I've never seen it. They're not even out of the cellophane yet, but I will be watching that. Obviously, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I'm also looking forward to seeing it. This is Andrew Garfield. I've kind of got used to Tobey Maguire, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to feel about Andrew Garfield, but we'll see how we go with it. And finally, Spider-Man Trilogy Collection. Now this is the Tom Holland trilogy. I've heard these are brilliant, and I've heard pretty much all of the Spider-Man movies are brilliant, so I'm really looking forward to it. The only ones now what I think would complete the collection very, very nicely is the Nicholas Hammond TV series from 1977. Now, Chris, you sent me a link to something a couple of weeks ago. Would you mind resending me that, because I've lost it? I can't find it. I can get a copy off Etsy. They do a DVD. I believe it's a bootleg of all seven. I think it was about 11, 12 or 13 episodes. They didn't do very many, but it would definitely complete the Spider-Man collection and would sit very nicely, sort of next to the 1967 animated collection that I've got upstairs. So that's what I've been buying this week. A couple more here. You won't have heard of this, I'm sure of it. The Singing Ringing Tree. During the summer holidays in the 70s, you had sort of TV programs like Banana Splits, Why Don't You, Tintin, Hergé's Adventures of Tintin, and in amongst that you used to get these things. This was part of a sort of a series called Tales from Europe. They were usually French or German programs dubbed into English, and this was one. It was some kind of a weird fairy tale, but the scenes that I've seen from this just recently, it made me want to watch it again. I couldn't tell you what it's about because I can't remember, but I do remember watching it in the summer holidays and loving it. And finally, just to say that I do take notice of what you tell me to watch, I thought I'd try a classic 80s series that I've never seen before. I've always fancied a look at. There is a movie version of this coming out next year with, I believe, I've got it next to me here, Ryan Gosling, the Fall Guy. Not even out the cellophane yet, only got this through yesterday. This is Lee Majors, who else is in it? Can't remember. It doesn't say. For some reason, the idea of this really appealed to me. And I can't find it anywhere streaming. I think the first series streams on Amazon, but no more than that. And you can only get seasons 1 and 2 on DVD. So I thought I'll grab the first season, see how I get on with that, and if I like it, I'll get season 2 as well. But saying that, there are another 3 seasons out there, but not available on DVD or streaming. So the furthest I can get with this is 2 seasons, but I'll see how I go with this. But I really like the look of this. I was a huge fan of $6 Million Man, and I think Lee Majors is amazing. He was even amazing in a movie that he made, I think it was 1979, called Killer Fish. I haven't seen it for years, but I remember really enjoying it, and I think it was on the back of Piranha coming out in 1977 or 8. I think it was cashing in on that one, but he was really good in that. So I'm looking forward to having a look at the Fall Guy. Just a couple of magazines. Latest issue of Empire, which has got a 2024 preview of what's coming next year, which I'm looking forward to. And the festive edition of SFX, which concentrates a lot on Doctor Who, but you've also got articles on this on Wonka, Rebel Moon, which is Zack Snyder's sci-fi epic. It's a Wonderful Knife horror movie. Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, which is the latest Godzilla incarnation. Ghost Story for Christmas, The Lazarus Project. There's also articles on X-Men, People Under the Stairs, Star Wars, and of course Doctor Who. And I'll be removing that from the sealed envelope later on to have a look at that. Right, that's pretty much it, folks. For saying I've got nothing to talk about, I've bobbled on for an hour and a quarter. I hope I've not bored you. Thanks ever so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Again, thanks to everybody who takes the time to watch the videos, comment on them, all that sort of thing. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. I really, really wouldn't. It's only because I've got you guys, you know, on the other end of this, watching it and taking note of what I say and this, that, and the other. So I really do appreciate it, and I do. Have a brilliant week, folks. As I say, we're only, 2 weeks away from Christmas now, 3 weeks away. So have a brilliant week, and I'll be back with you next week, probably about the same time. Whether it'll be another hour and a quarter, I don't know. We'll see how we go towards the end of the week. But thanks again for joining me, and have a brilliant week, folks, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Take care. Ta-da.